Oh, to get a snack.
It's not working.
The splashing is on.
Oh, it is. It is. Okay, I think it's good. It still says offline, but I can see myself.
I'm looking like a crazy.
Is that like these?
I was doing
You good.
Ugh.
Do you have to prompt you every time, or just like
Who's taking minutes?
What are minutes?
Oh my god, ew.
I was just trying to.
Ew, turn that.
You just type what happened.
It's too bad.
No.
I have to like prepare.
Jeez.
Who's gonna take minutes?
Yeah, that's good, bro. That's the stuff.
Would you like
This
to
is
take
so bad.
No,
It's bad.
Would you like to take this?
He cut off like half your
They cut off some stuff. Because they are, we are at Sufficient.
Volunteer to take
No, people, we don't really talk. We don't talk. It just looks weird.
It looks so funny.
So slow.
Yeah, just
How did it go from not being able to see?
you don't need like details.
Is there a special
Supposed to move back.
Google Drive, right?
Just
Yeah,
like
it's
just copy the
It does not move.
The audio doesn't come on.
Grab it, yeah.
If I can now.
Yeah. Congrats. We're all on it.
The videos that look jacked.
No, right?
Okay.
I feel as if everyone's sitting the way they were sitting last week besides me.
Oh boy,
I have to write person's name and the idea of what this is about. Yeah. It's like not word for word, right? Yeah. It's not word for word. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, just like in the general overview of what happened. That's what I'm meeting.
Okay. I'll try my best.
Well,
We need all of us to start.
Did you turn it on?
Look at, but attendance is taking an ass.
just start and then just
I know.
what time do you need?
I think it's just gonna be acid if you download.
Yeah, I think they should be.
You can just put what time she
This,
arrived.
her phone's here, so it doesn't make sense. Oh, yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Oh,
We're
wait.
trying.
Yes, man.
When you go yell into the comments.
I'll do it. You know I'll do it.
But if somebody else, another excuse. I don't want somebody else to go.
No, right, exactly.
hard.
It's not
Type.
true. Today's a long meeting.
Huh?
Relax.
Sounds good. I don't know.
You want to do it?
What is meetings?
Watch out both of them. Now we get types around. Who hasn't gotten a SGC? I got one.
What about my lip policy? What about my lip policy?
You got one? I think
I switched it.
you switched
I switched
the I heard back from landscape today.
Yo.
Send that out.
Yeah, wait. Wait, did you?
Wait, what about library policy?
Library policy, they I literally
I thought I did.
they do not exist. I went to the library themselves and they gave me
So I wanted to double check with you, so
call
I
it.
just switched to Sky.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Does Jared know who was
That's what we did
was he
in
library policy or you weren't library policy?
Is that okay?
Oh,
Or did you want to switch? No, it's okay. I feel bad. I'm sorry. I feel bad. No, it's okay.
Same
Okay.
thing.
I was like, I don't
Same.
say there.
No, I literally.
Okay. Yes, I replied, but it gave me notification
Wait,
that
what's
you
this?
wouldn't get
Say
it.
something in this email?
Yeah, I just felt
What?
like
Do you know what time the meeting is?
I didn't want to like.
Yes. Might be nothing really next week.
So I went
Where
to
is this
double
week
check.
actually? It's
Oh,
in
you're
2
good.
days.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
yours is
October 2nd.
I'm sorry.
And you're an alcoholic.
Okay, so I'm still doing landscape. Yeah.
Wait, mine's literally in
You're an IT.
Because you were doing
Thursday,
that
yeah.
committee and I'm doing that committee. And now you're staying with landscape and I'm doing landscape. Oh, okay.
It would make sense.
Oi!
Just do however
Oi.
makes sense to you.
This was 2018.
Hey! Oh, let's go.
You want to just copy
Sorry, just
but she can't walk very fast.
You miss your ACC.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm saying you're
can't
smart.
talk about ACC.
I'm saying you're smart.
Rashad,
Nah.
are you breaking confidentiality?
Shit, can you please?
So the Hamilton meeting this Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited.
The meeting is Friday.
Every Friday.
ACC Friday.
That's the only part of SGA I'm excited
But it's on Fridays at 4.
about. I'm joking. I'm joking.
This is why I
This
already
close.
started, right? Like, legislation created, like.
Please.
Oh, dead ass. Dead ass. I'll second that, Tony.
Gonna introduce it in everything. Make it a J out.
Oh,
Tell me why.
Hey, this is bowling.
Bowling in the SGA space.
Hey, sorry about that.
Sorry, fucko.
What is happening? Are they dropping that on the live stream?
Apparently.
I said bucko.
Bucko.
That's a very Caucasian phrase, you know. What does that mean? Is that kangaroo? It's like it's like buddy, but with like a little bit more spice. But like more just like salt. Like spice.
Wait, are we live?
Yes. Okay, why you didn't say anything? Calm down.
Still, you're.
He's really quaking.
See, it makes me wonder who you are off camera.
Just copy and paste.
Gotcha. Why aren't you the same person?
Okay. Umi's not here. Well, we gotta start. So,
Yo.
Why she be like right
I
there?
know that's. Let me just.
Meander down the hall. I can go find her. I just want to listen to like a right.
She's nowhere to be found, so we're just gonna get started.
Wow.
I gaveled the meeting at 5:48. So let's see. I'm gonna go through roll call. So,
Just take a minute.
Kai is. What roll call? I just want to like make a note of who's here. So, 10 people here. Who's missing? Rumi, and then also Brenda and Francis and me, Candace. Did you get that, Kai? Alright, so now we're gonna go to approval of the agenda. So you guys can just take a look. Is she here? She's here.
That's literally her.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry, I mean, just
Well,
wait for her.
okay, we restarted the meeting. So you can just take a seat saying that.
Oh, I thought it was like, get out.
Alright, so now we're gonna.
I'm just paying attention.
Okay. So everyone, can you guys look at the agenda and what's mine now?
Just really quick.
I moved to amend the agenda.
Second?
Alright, I would like to add after the last confirmation, about 20 minutes to share SRC reform updates.
How many people for? Or raise your hand if you're for.
I'll help you out. 4. Wait, okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Minus
6.
6.
Wait, sorry, what is this?
SRC.
He wants to go over SRC updates. Okay, raise your hand if you're against. Okay, yours is well,
Yeah, I feel like that creates an
email.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
since we voted for it, just add it in.
Definitely.
As it stands right now in our rules, like if you're late, you can't vote for them. So you're just like you're almost like an ex officio member of Senate if you're late.
Yeah.
So, but we can vote to suspend that rule.
Late means coming in after the meeting starts,
Right.
not late. Okay.
Yeah, so,
So we have to run that vote for her to be able to vote for other stuff.
is
Participate.
there a motion for that?
I second.
Well, is there a motion?
So is it moved to suspend prompt rules?
Yeah, and is there a second?
Yeah.
Second.
And all those in favor?
Aye. Ayes have it.
Okay, and the motion passed by general consent, so we can vote.
So, and for clarification, it's in order to be considered present at the meeting, you have to be here at gavel in and gavel out. So when the speaker starts the meeting and ends the meeting, and only members who are present, so marked as present, are allowed to vote. Does that make sense?
Chairman.
Alright, so now let me go over the minutes from last
Wait,
Monday.
I still move to
Oh.
amend the agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. The meeting's kind of long today, so I wanted to add a break. And it's
A recess.
yeah, recess.
And you said after 7:20?
Yeah.
Who's second?
Eric,
Second.
Oh.
second. Somebody did.
I seconded.
Do we have any SRC updates already?
No sway ones?
No, I'm updating the reform process, yeah.
Change that to this one. All those in favor of adding a recess after 7:20?
Just me.
Candace,
Yes, yeah.
if, did I already talk to you about it for like specific reasons? Can I overrule that vote? Cause she has like a reason for it.
Yeah, if you need to leave during the meeting, you can leave during the meeting.
Okay.
You'll just miss part of the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
I mean, I don't
If it's important.
Yeah, it's important. I don't mind
No, so
going
it's just
for
like
it.
5 minutes, so it's fine.
Okay.
So if you want a 5-minute recess,
I don't mind that. I'm for it. If we can vote
you
again.
want to vote again?
Yeah.
I mean, I can just leave if you guys don't want to break.
Or they can, as they
Have we
are
voted?
now
Yeah, I don't mind
considering.
voting.
Alright.
Raise your hand if you're for a 5-minute recess after 7:20.
All the ayes. Ayes have it.
That's what I want.
One. Two voted again.
Is that 7:35?
When did we 7:25?
Because that's 5 minutes after.
Yeah, you're right, 7:35.
You got this.
Come on, Jared.
Yeah, I was reading.
And then, alright, so now we're gonna go over the minutes from last, minutes from last Monday.
You have to approve the agenda as amended.
Yes. Did anybody do that?
You guys can do.
Yeah.
Is there a motion?
I move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
And the motion passed by general consent. Alright, so let's get the minutes from last Monday.
Move to approve the minutes from last meeting.
Second.
Okay, what's your,
What? So I just think.
Oh.
yeah,
Why are you approving elections?
it's from last.
You have to.
You have to approve all of it.
Why?
Because it's, because if
then
it's
it's
not a type
official
of
record.
But if somebody doesn't like how they've been represented, then they can Okay, so
Yeah.
the way the SLs are ordered in or the way
The
that
tracker.
Yeah, the tracker, like SL, whichever SL is next in the order has to be how it's numbered, like the way it's presented in meetings. So SL5 has to be presented before SL6 instead of SL.
No, that makes sense. I just
So-
made that mistake.
Oh yeah, it's fine. I was just seeing if we had to officially amend to do that, but we can just make this one a 5 and then continue.
You'll have, yeah,
You have to amend all of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it'll be 5.
Yeah, it's because I made the agenda and I added to these after I
Already
introduced. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she'll, but the other one she can amend without them.
I mean, they were introduced to you.
So what I want to just go through and change all the
You
numbers.
have to officially amend each one as you go and introduce them. And then 9 is currently not being presented anymore because number 9 is,
Yeah, 9 is for next.
so,
This one will just be 5.
and then the next one will be 6, 7, 8, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Or no, that would be 9.
So typically, can you pass me my phone real quick? You can have 3 to 5 minutes to talk about yourself, about just give us like an overview about who you are, and then if you want to use some of that time for us to ask you questions, you can as well. You can start.
Well, my name is Tiffany Worsley. I'm currently a senior here at UMBC. I'm doing a double major in psychology and media communication studies, and I also have a minor in information systems. Currently, I've been exposed to different parts of the research world. Here on campus, I've been a research assistant in both the Department of Psychology and in the Department of Information Systems, where I've learned a lot about verbal communication skills, and a lot of things. I've worked with different animals. I've also worked with different people, especially I've worked with kids and giving different psychological assessments. I've also worked as an office assistant here on campus within the visual arts department. That was a lot of more clerical work and using like a lot of customer service skills and talking on the phone with people and organizing the office and different things like that.
Alright, so there's still some time. Would you like us to ask you any questions?
Sure, yeah.
Have any questions?
Yeah.
So for time improvements, all you have on here is evening class on Tuesdays. Is that really your only time for that?
No, that just printed wrong.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they all just printed all.
I have a copy of my schedule if you
You can just answer, like, just give us a general idea of what you're talking about. Because you told me, so you can just tell me.
Okay. So I have class Monday through Thursday. On Fridays, I don't have any classes like a 3A for me. On Tuesdays, I tend to have class from 10-7. And then Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, I have class from about 10 to about 4.
Well, you don't have any classes like during this meeting?
No. I don't.
Okay.
I just wanted to re-clarify, if your expected graduation is still in December.
No, it's actually changed to spring 2020, just recently.
I have a question. So, why do you think you'd be the best position? Do you think you'd do the best job?
I think that for this position, it's good to have like good time management skills and how to prioritize your time. Also juggling classes and other extracurricular activities, which I have in the past, with being get the ability, to make friends and meet people, like outside your major, and people you probably wouldn't even typically talk to, who you would, become friends with. And I think that, it's important, when you're in college, it's not only to, go to school and, get the grades, but it's also important to get involved on campus and, do things on campus and meet other people and stuff.
What experience do you have with multitasking in regards to your study or your talent at the same time?
Can you repeat your question?
What experience do you have like listening to something and writing it down at the same time?
In the past with my training as a research assistant, we've had several orientations, and so like during those orientations we have to take notes and things like that. So it was really important that we learned like really quickly, and so as a research assistant I had to adapt really quickly to like new computer softwares and new trainings and things like that. So I think that taking notes is really important, especially when you want to retain information. So I think that with my past experience, being a research assistant, I've had that ability to adapt to change in a new environment.
Do you know your words per minute?
My words per minute? I don't. That's what.
What's that? Oh, words per minute.
So move to amend SL 10-1920 to be SL 05-1920.
Second.
All those in favor?
And then anybody else?
Anybody else have any questions? No? Okay.
Move to pass SL 05-1920
Second.
as amended.
Quick question, are we gonna change the date on there, or is that?
That date should be changed, yeah.
To amend,
Wait.
reading of introduction. I was like continuing on what she said, so I thought we should have.
I'm sorry.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Move to amend date of introduction September 16, 19 to September 14, 19 to September 16.
Motion passes by general consent.
No.
Good catch.
Is there another motion? No sweat.
Okay, I move to approve SL 05-1920 as amended.
Second.
All those in favor? All opposed? And motion passes.
Would you like to do minutes still? She has to be sworn in.
This is so stressful.
Can we do like introductions before we continue? So, who's second? Umi.
We're doing introductions around the table.
Who seconded no sweat?
Yeah, who seconded?
It was gonna be his motion.
Okay, sure.
I second now. I didn't, but I second.
Seconded. No.
Oh, wait, let's
Wait.
confirm her first.
Okay.
Because we have, you can call me.
So, what is your guys' mentality like when you're going for these confirmations? what I mean like is, like as a Senate, what's our goal of what are we trying to do? Oh, wait, who's, sorry. Yeah.
I had a
Wait,
Nope.
let's just do it after
Swearing
the
in.
confirmation.
And then we need to allow, one boy to hear.
Alright, so just gonna repeat after me and raise your right hand. I, and say your name.
I, Tiffany Wesley,
Do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will faithfully execute
I will faithfully execute
the office of Secretary of SGA Senate
the office of Secretary of SGA
of the UMBC Student Government Association,
UMBC Student Government Association,
and will,
and will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
promote and defend the interest and well-being
the interests and well-being
of UMBC's undergraduate students.
of UMBC's undergraduate students.
For walkways,
Yes.
the name of the document needs to be changed. And then confirmation,
Okay.
Just like,
Yeah, that's fine.
Wait, that's a
It's not-
final detail.
Yeah.
that's fine, I'm just like,
Okay.
do you want me to show?
Do you volunteer to give minutes?
Oh,
Is she on payroll yet?
Tiffany?
It's all volunteer.
It is?
I give to, she's out.
She volunteers.
Okay, what were you saying?
Okay, any other discussion?
Oh yeah, so I wanted to talk about like what is our goal of doing these confirmations, right? And like, I was talking to, I think, Coach Stoy and Reese about this kind of like towards the end of the last meeting where we were doing confirmations. Because before, like, even while we were doing those confirmations and afterwards, we were asking questions, and like for me the focus has always been kind of like a second interview. And Reese brought up the point, like, the worst question asked is like time commitments before, because when you're asking someone for time commitments, it's like everyone just has time or else they wouldn't really be doing it, or it's just kind of like a pointless question. So then I got to thinking like, okay, what are we actually trying to figure out? And then like the thing that sort of came to me was, and this is just kind of like a point of insight, it doesn't necessarily have to be the way that we approach it, but I was thinking like that we're not really a second interview, we're more just a check, because they already went through an interview, right? And they were the one that was presented to us out of a bunch of different candidates, right? So we're trying to check and make sure that whoever put it before us isn't doing something corrupt, which has happened in years past. And maybe that's not all we're doing, right? Maybe we are partly second interview, but to each their own, but I don't know. What do you guys think about that, or do you kind of understand what I'm saying? Not really? Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I feel like, last time we didn't ask efficient questions, and I want everyone to be cognizant that that doesn't mean that you have to, ask questions just to ask questions. If someone is qualified and, they came through all this and they have their whole resume and that shows that they're qualified, drilling them with more questions isn't going to get you anywhere. They're already qualified, you know what I mean? So I just, in my opinion, I think we should be more cognizant of our time and how we're using our time as senators. And, ask efficient questions.
Yeah, no, I think, I'm sorry. I think that that's a really good point, because like even while we were interviewing, are we allowed to talk about it now? While we were interviewing Tiffany right now, it just felt like it was a bit stagnant. So I don't want it to seem like we're just like Rashad and Brits, like we're just asking questions just for the sake of asking questions.
necessarily know the answer. Like, so,
I mean, if it's a check on corruptness, it's almost like there'd have to be questions about nepotism, like what is your personal relationship with anyone? But at the same time, like that seems kind of weird because they're not under oath or anything. They don't have to tell us anything. So I mean, yeah, so they're kind of stuck in a weird place.
Didn't like last semester, someone didn't get appointed because I think it was for Senate too. So I think that's like an answer to like a check because even though they were nominated for confirmation, they didn't go through the Senate process. That's the
I mean, I just think the point of the confirmation is to make sure that us senators are comfortable with that person's, like, their qualities. And, like, just to, like, yes, Swanboy chose them, they don't need a lot of people, but it's just to make sure that we feel comfortable, not meet or reflect for meetings.
okay, so it's not just like checking corruption, but it's also checking how we feel about the candidates.
Yeah.
Okay. So we brought it
We're
up.
not like attacking or anything.
Yeah.
We're just trying to figure out how do we do this process because we're all new to it.
So, I guess for the next confirmation, what do we want to get out of it? I don't want it to like feel pre-planned, but also I want us to kind of have an idea of what we're getting into for the first level confirming, or the thinking about confirming. So for those of you who haven't studied today, what would you guys like to, or what do you look for when we're confirming people? Like what makes you want to raise your hand for them? Collection.
I was trying to say, I feel like, I mean, it's not going to answer your question, but I was thinking more so a solution towards like the whole question dilemma. And I don't know if it would be more, I don't know how productive it would be to like maybe have like a template of possible questions that we could ask, and then depending on how they presented themselves, whether or not those questions have been answered in their introduction, then we would proceed with asking questions that like haven't been answered in their introduction. That way it's like more organized. But it does seem kind of pre-planned, so I don't know if you guys feel like that. Like maybe having like a whole template, a doc that has like a list of potential questions, and then gauging what we would ask based on that person's introduction.
See, but I feel like questions for each position, the questions has to be like tailored to that position, like personally, right? So for example, for a case with Tiffany, like a good question would have been like, oh, how well are you at like, typing, or like how well are you like keeping up with, or multitasking, like listening to people and then being able to relay that information to the document. The questions that we ask, like about your time limits and all that, that doesn't rely her, her work, being able to type minutes and all that. So, just keeping the questions specific to the job title and like not asking redundant questions, like you said, that they're already like, touched upon in their introduction would, help make this process super efficient and better.
Quick question. Next time when you print this out, can you include a description of the position?
Yes. That was my fault. I not put that out well. Tara, were you gonna say?
I was just saying, I agree, so like, I feel like we answer general questions and you agree on this, like, that's what I was really sure that what kind of questions we ask.
She just seemed really qualified to be honest.
Yeah.
It's like when I was
2 openings for the coordinator of photography position. The April is one of them. And so I can tell you a little bit about the position, and then, if you want to ask me later why I'm choosing the coordinator. But so the coordinator of photography will be responsible for attending Department of Communications meetings every week, and that'll be set by whoever the director is. And then they are also responsible for going to different SGA events around campus and taking photos of us there, and of the different participants that are there. Taking photos of SGA people at other people's events is also a possible thing that this person might be doing. And then outside of those 2 things, it's really up to the Department of Communications to come up with different kind of communications related projects and initiatives, which I'm sure photography will be involved at some point. So that's pretty much, it's really self-explanatory, it's photography. Francis just put a link in Slack to Abel's portfolio. So while you're asking questions, I recommend looking through it because he's very tough. Yes?
Does videography and video editing also fall into this?
We have a separate coordinator of
coordinator.
videography. Yes.
Okay, great, thanks Brenda. So Abel, you can have 3 to 5 minutes to introduce yourself, and then we'll ask you some questions after that.
Do I need to stand up or anything?
No, you don't have to.
Hello, my name is Abel.
Oh, sorry. I was pronouncing your name wrong.
That's fine. My name is Abel. I'm a transfer student here. I'm a junior currently, and I'm a computer science major, and also an applied linguistics major. And photography is something that I really like doing, and that's the reason why I applied for this position. When I saw it, I kind of jumped at it, and I hope that I can I have to do my best in this position. And more about me, I'm not sure what else to say. But
Okay, well great, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Does anyone have any questions for Abel? Yes. Jose.
Hello, Abel. My name is Josue. I'm the senator here. I wanted to ask if you could kind of share a little bit more about your creative process. How you feel like that could really add to the goals of this year?
Well, when I take pictures, I usually like to take pictures of subjects in their that are in their element, I guess. So what I like to take pictures of is usually like people who are doing things, and I kind of like getting different angles of those people doing whatever they're doing. I also like taking pictures of just scenery and things. I just feel something when I see something, and that's when I immediately take a picture. All of my pictures are usually on my phone. It's actually all of them are, yes. Don't have a camera right now, so I'm not sure if that's required of coordinator photography, but I can accommodate if it is. That's also totally fine. If it's not, then perfect. But yeah, so.
Just make comments. If you need a professional camera, the library. That's
Awesome. Sorry, no left. I'll talk to you later about that. I don't know what the process is to do that, but
That's
How long have you been interested in photography?
since I'd say 2015, that's when I started taking pictures. I don't know how long that was. 6 years.
Do you use any like editing software for your pictures?
I used to add a lot of filters to my pictures, but not anymore. Ever since I think 2 years ago, I stopped using filters. And I just pictures that I like, I take a picture of them and I just keep them as is. I just usually like crop and rotate. That's all I do. But I do have editing softwares like Photoshop and Aviary. No, there's another there's no, I'm usually very quick with that, so.
So just a quick question. There's a second person that will have the same position as you. How do you plan to work with them to, get things done?
So I'm gonna ask them for maybe any advice they have on a picture that I've taken, and I hope to share the same advice if they have any. Maybe review our pictures together. I think that'll be a great way to make our pictures better. So that's one of my.
Any more questions? Is there a motion?
I move to approve SL 06-1920 as amended.
All those in favor? Motion passes.
Hey.
So you're gonna take the
Just like what?
Yes.
One voice, you have to remember to ask me if they're
I
eligible.
know, I'm sorry.
They're eligible.
Are they eligible?
Yes, you have to remember so that it's in the on the record.
It would be that's a long-term investment. Why wouldn't, I don't understand why not.
I don't know when I'm using.
So guys.
Oh. I'm talking.
I'll go last vote.
Do solemnly affirm
Do solemnly affirm
I will faithfully execute the office of
that I will faithfully execute the office of
Coordinator of Photography
Coordinator of Photography
of the Communications Department
of the Communications Department
and of this UMBC Student Government Association
and of this Student Government Association,
and will,
and will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
promote and defend
promote and defend
the interests and well-being
the interest and well-being
of UMBC's undergraduate students.
of UMBC's undergraduate students.
Hi, Bill.
Can I move to another agenda?
No. Why are you just like moving you all over?
Or one of those things that we have at the end, back in the front. The reform updates. Or like up to now, because we don't have our next confirmation until
Oh,
6
yeah,
months.
yeah, right.
You have 10 minutes, exactly.
So, you have to make a motion.
Yeah, move to amend the agenda to bring SRC reform updates to 6:30.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of Darren's amendment? Okay, you're gonna pass that down.
Or unless you want to.
So we're
That's fine.
Jared, who said this is test artwork.
Is anybody after consummation?
Yeah, sure. It's same thing.
So start talking, you want to get
Yeah, you got it this way.
oh, I had a whole presentation. I had a whole presentation.
Oh, you did? Can you do it in 10 minutes?
Yeah. No, it's not a slide, it's literally just a sheet. It's like, hello.
Brenda, is it in your plan to allow student organizations to book our photographers for events? Cool. Thank you so much. Would that be a thing you do with it?
Maybe, I thought about it, but it's a lot of time.
Yeah.
So much. Maybe we might, yeah.
Alright, hello everybody.
We can talk after.
My name is Josue, so I'm just going to be discussing some of the updates with SRC. Just wanted to present this all to you because then next week we'll be actually pushing legislation. That way you kind of have this whole week to kind of just give us your feedback and everything. SRC, by the way, is Stipend Review Committee. It's basically like it's a committee of like your fellow peers who evaluate whether or not you're meeting the responsibilities of like your job role and everything. And so we vote on whether or not, and if you don't, like there's a stipend cut, but most likely all is gonna be good. Anyways, so the way we're gonna do it is every paid SGA officer will be assigned a number that will locate and identify that individual's SRC report. Alright? It's gonna be, we've made these Google Sheets for every body of SGA, one for Senate, one for Finance Board, and one for Executive. So we started with Senate, it's 1 through 12. So it will be 1 Josue, 2 Wangoy, 3, etc. up until our secretary. We're doing this because it's kind of like an easier way to just like put a number to every person and just quickly give assignments later on. And then going on, Finance Board goes to 7, so it'll be 13 to 20, 21 to 24. Then after that, all hired SGA officers will be 22 until infinity. Meaning all the other people that are going to be coming in, especially with the executive branch, will just be assigned a number thereafter. So you can scroll to the little calendar. So the SRC reports are going to be filled every week. It's very simple. It's an Excel sheet which you just fill out. They will be open on this day, for example, today actually, but you have the entire week to fill it out. So you are essentially filling it out as you go, right? So as you're going out throughout your week, you're making your meetings, you're working on your projects, etc., you can start filling out the SRC form, and then it's due on the following Sunday, the 22nd. The chair and the vice chair, which is myself and Justin, will be reviewing every Sunday to see who has finished their SRC reports. If you haven't, we'll put a note for that, and we'll get to that later. First 2 weeks of September are considered a grace period, mainly because we're just trying to figure this out and get it up and running. So we'll be reviewing. Next. Alright, so before and leading up to SRC meetings. So as you know, everybody has 2 representatives. We have 2 from Senate, 2 from Finance Board, and 2 from the Executive. 2 from Senate are?
Me and Rashad.
Mongo and Mershad. Right? So some of the responsibilities that these SRC committee members will be doing is that the co-chairs will assign SRC reports to every SRC committee member the week before SRC convenes for the quarter. The way we'll be doing that is a random number generator. Alright, we'll actually randomly generate numbers based on what SRC report identification numbers there are. And we'll assign those to every SRC member. We're going to do this a few times so that, we're going to do this twice, so that every SRC committee member will be, every member will be reviewed by 2 SRC committee members. Alright? There are a total of 8, keep going down. Every SRC committee member is expected to receive approximately 12 to 13 SRC reports to go through on their own time. Now you have an entire week to go through these and evaluate and make your own recommendation. If you do 2 a day, that's like 30 minutes of your time, right? Going on, since the executive branch hasn't finished hiring, confirming all the officers, SRC committee shouldn't expect as many reports in the first quarter. You'll mainly be doing a lot of the elected members. So the way it will work is we have our first SRC meeting date on October 5th. So we will assign assignments on the 29th, and as I say, you have the entire week up until the committee meeting to put together your evaluations and rubrics. Alright, and then we go down a little bit more. Alright, privacy is of the utmost importance. So for example, if Rashad, I don't know, he's assigning me, he goes around telling everybody like how he's grading me, that is considered, it's going to be proposed as an impeachable offense in order to protect people's privacy. Obviously, you wouldn't want people to talk about like how you're doing, especially if they're evaluating you. So anyways, going forward, during the SRC meeting, we'll convene, and all the SRC committee members will present their recommendations and their evaluations. And then they'll be voted upon at this time. The stipend recommendations from the SGA advisor will also be considered as well, have to be candidates. SRC committee will vote on stipend recommendations and then the meeting will go. The reason why we did it like this, kind of splitting up the work, is because notoriously in the past, SRC meeting has been very long. And we would have to do the work anyway, so we thought the best way to do it is just kind of split it up over time, as opposed to spending an 8-hour day trying to go through all this. So say also, for example, like there's somebody that wants to appeal, or there's somebody that wants to make a statement about their SRC reports, we actually have a lot more room for debate and conversation for people to make their case, right? And so after SRC meeting, so after the 5th, which is coming up, you will have an appeal window up until the 11th. If you want to say, hey, no, actually I deserve my full stipend, la la la. Can you scroll a little bit down, please? Yes. And then on the 12th, stipends will be finalized. The 14th, they'll be submitted to the people. And then you will receive your stipends on November the 2nd. Awesome. Any questions? Okay, great. If you want to talk more about it, see me after. Otherwise, I think next Monday we'll actually start presenting the legislation to be voted on. Great. Any questions, concerns, thoughts? Thank you for your time.
How much work went into this report?
Too much.
Alright, does anyone have any quick questions for Ms. White? I have a question.
Yeah.
So where do we find, is it in the shared
Yeah, so
drive?
actually I can show you right now. Give me a second.
Oh, no, it's good.
So if you go in the SGA shared folder, you'll see this tab called SRC 2019-2020. You double click it, scroll all the way to the bottom, and you'll find the 3 sheets representative of each body. We'll do Senate because obviously the Senate. And so the first tab you'll be presented is an example tab, as you can see by the bottom. This kind of shows you what some of the questions will be. You'll find here length will be a job description to kind of compare whether or not you've been meeting your role responsibilities, and then you'll be filling it out throughout. And so down here you'll see 1 is for Ongoy, 2 is for Persuade, going on until Taryn, and then finally our secretary. Awesome. Any questions? Yes.
So
Sean.
this is
Go ahead, John.
So is there anything we have to do for thinking date over this summer, or like before September 9th?
Oh, like
Volunteer
do you want to like submit?
Like,
the-
yeah, so like, I have a lot of meetings before September 9th.
Yeah, you can throw them in there.
I would just put them on.
That's volunteer too.
Yeah.
so 2 questions. So we're starting from September 16th, right?
I'm sorry?
We're starting from September 16th.
Yeah, so today's the official start date.
And so this is throughout the week.
Yeah, you fill it out throughout the week as you're
Okay.
going. And then it'll say due September 22nd. So for every week, you'll see when is it due up until the end of the fall semester.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So we each have our own tab.
Yeah, you each have your own tab with a number. So I think you're
Number 8.
8.
Okay. So I know you had mentioned, okay, so we're each kind of like gonna be, what's it called, like grading? Like, are we assigned, okay, so like what I'm confused on was that like, are we grading?
So
Or is that?
technically, no. For example, the only people from Senate are Wongoy and Rashad who are
Okay.
sitting on the committee. They're the ones, along with 4 other members who are making, who are filling out evaluations of all SGA officers. Right? Now, that's not to say that, for example, you have a problem with like somebody else within SGA. You can actually submit submit a peer evaluation if you wanted to bring something up. That's what you want.
Because I remember you said something about confidentiality and how like,
Yeah. So for example, like Rashad and Wongoy, they can't talk about who they're,
oh,
doing, because that's confidential. Nobody knows who's reviewing them, and nobody would know like who voted on like whether or not you get your stipend. It will be completely anonymous.
Anonymous.
These 3 forms are open to the public, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So everybody will be able to see what you've been doing.
Like by everybody.
The student body.
The student body, yeah. Transparency.
Okay, if you guys have any more questions, you can ask this way after we get back into the confirmation. Alright, so now we're into the confirmation of stuff. So, Francis, if you can, or is that Brenda?
No, I got it. I can do it. Cool. Awesome. So, buddy, just hold on. Because I'm like, cool. So, basically what we're looking for in this job description is really for someone to, we're hiring 2 people for this position. And so the tasks are basically maintaining the SGA website, using Hootsuite to maintain all of our social media platforms and possibly adding another one on there if they determine it to be a good idea, and posting all Senate initiatives and updates, as well as anything that anyone brings to SGA's attention, and posting that on the social media, and working with the communications department and their weekly meeting, and ultimately the branding of SGA. Do you have any questions for me on that description? It's pretty straightforward with the title name.
Alright, Melissa, can you just introduce yourself for a few minutes and then we can.
Okay. So to tell you all a little bit about myself, my name is Melissa Ogburn. I am a HAT major on the public health track. I am also a junior here at UMBC. Other things about me is I am also president of Retriever Poets here on campus, so I do a lot of events for them. I also have lived overseas, so I have a lot of experience with social media presence and like working with others on bringing awareness on certain issues globally. I think that's pretty much it. I don't know if you talk more about myself.
Yeah, you can talk for 2 minutes.
Okay.
If you don't have anything else to do, just go into questions. So it's really up to you. Ready? Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Krista?
I said you work well on social media, like overseas, with programs after that.
Yes, so my parents both work for the State Department, so I'm a third culture kid, so I'm a diplomat's daughter. Every 3 years I would move from different international schools from Vietnam to Korea to here. And during that time I was very, very involved with like, for example, a lot of social justice clubs. So particular, there was a justice club in Seoul, South Korea. We worked a lot with like advocating against human trafficking and modern day slavery. And through that we had, in Korea, we didn't really have a big presence with Instagram within my school. It's very different from here. So in my school we did a lot of Facebook events, and so I worked along with creating events for Facebook. Also, we did a lot of flyers. I also have experience with like graphics. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So as you might already know, like the students, undergraduate student body knows that SGA exists, but they don't clearly know what we do, right? And I feel like a big portion of that relies on social media and our website and all that, and our social media presence. So how do you plan to, as a social media director of SGA, gauge student, interest and get them interested in SGA and what we do, and get them familiar with our paths and all that.
Right. It is really difficult to have students follow your page and also get really engaged with it. I understand that. But especially since I'm a junior here, when I came here my freshman year, I was like, what is SGA? SGA seems really, it's just like, especially coming from an international school, from where I came from, we didn't have an SGA kind of thing. So for me, I think a lot of it is creating something where you can explain who you are in very simple terms. Meaning that, like, if I know you all have a website, is that correct? I never knew that you all had a website. So I think the greatest way to put your website out there is to, for example, on Instagram, I don't know if you all know Linktree. It's like it's a site or an app that you use that you put all of your links in it, and you can put that in your bio for Instagram. So you can, instead of just having like one link for your SGA Instagram, you can put the Linktree, and it has like your website, it has your Facebook, it's linked to your Twitter. So it's easily accessible, so everyone can see your links. Also, I think I was talking to you earlier, when we met earlier, about like on the timeline, liking other UMBC clubs, organizations, reposting what they're doing, posting on your story. So really engaging with other UMBC clubs, like on social media, will also create that presence. So making it a little bit more simpler, I think. Engagements.
Sorry, curious, how long have you been involved with like social media?
I would say it varies. I would say with social media, I think I've been doing it since like I would say sophomore year of high school. But I think it's different with social media. I think I've learned a lot more. So I think I'm really well versed with Facebook, and then I'm learning more of Instagram. Now I'm learning a lot more of like website designing.
So how do you think you'll be able to use certain features that come with various social media platforms as a way to like get students like more engaged? Like for instance, like Instagram has like a feature like Instagram story. Like how would you use that, for example? Or like if you have any other, like how would you use that to get students more interested in that?
I think, for example, like Instagram story or like Facebook story, or I think it's consistency. I think a lot of it is, we think of when we post, for example, for UMBC Retriever Poets, I maintain our social media, Instagram and all of our social media. So with that, not only do I like and repost other UMBC clubs on Instagram, but I also just want to keep it consistent. So like every other day, instead of just once a week, or when you only have an event, you post something. How would you post something like, hey, what are you all doing? Let's do a poll, or like questions. I think engaging with the students with Instagram story is really great, because we actually get a lot more responses than I thought we would, because students are actually really interested. So, example, I don't know if you all follow like UMBC Life. They do, and each person will post on what they're doing. For example, today was like a study abroad person on there. And I think it's really great that they show different aspects of the UMBC, and I think we should do that as well.
One more question. Is she eligible?
Yes. She's eligible to hold the position she was being nominated for.
Alright, so no more questions, is there a motion?
Yeah, I have a question. So you talked about like your experience with social media. Do you have any like experience with web design or like skills or interests that would help you with designing websites for SGA?
I would definitely say I'm a little bit more newer to like web design. I know you already have an existing website, so instead of creating a whole new website, I can figure out ways of drawing people to visit the website, and then through that, if I, for example, don't know how to work the website, I can always learn. I'm a really fast learner. So with whatever I don't know, I can ask others, but also just look for it myself and discover. I love being curious about learning new things. So with the website, I can definitely update posts or etc.
I asked her experience with web design.
Okay, so that was the last question. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve SL06-1920. Wait. To amend SL06-1920 to be SL07-1920. Second.
Motion passed by 10.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to.
Wait, what, Candace? Abstain?
I know. I mean, now I know.
No. When you abstain, you have to give a reason why you're abstaining. You can't abstain because you don't want to vote.
They literally told me that.
But there,
You have to.
but yes, this would be a case of an appropriate use of an abstention. Because example A, Josue cannot be, well, probably could be, but to be safe, but, you know, it would be difficult, one could imagine, for Josue to be unbiased in his vote. Because of his pre-existing relationship to another.
Okay.
This is great.
Okay, great. So now is there a motion?
Motion to pass.
Move.
Move to pass.
Move to approve.
Move to approve SL 07-1920.
Second.
All those in favor? You guys can vote, please. Alright, all opposed, 0, abstaining, 1. Motion passes.
The date, or the number. I meant the number, SL number.
Yeah, didn't you mix it?
Yeah, he's good for me.
Oh, alright, so it's done. You can just come over here. Okay, alright.
Come in.
Just come this way. We can come in. Yeah.
I don't want to interrupt, so.
No, come in.
Is it okay for me to?
Yeah,
Yes.
meeting.
Francis.
I know. Oh.
The paper.
I have to take your class.
I'll email
I, and say your name. And say your name. You solemnly affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of coordinator of social media and web design of the communications department. I can say that again. Coordinator of social media and web design of the communications department of the UMBC Student Government Association. And will to the best of my ability devote and defend the interests and well-being of the UMBC Now we're on to the confirmation of as coordinator of photography of the communications department. Brenda, would you like to introduce that?
Sure, yeah, so, yeah, you're good. So this is the other coordinator of photography that I mentioned earlier. Same responsibilities that we talked about, taking photos at SGA events and SGA officers. And I will right now put the link to his portfolio. But yeah, if anyone has questions about the responsibilities, I'll answer them, but it's the same as the last coordinator of photography responsibilities.
Do we have a similar portfolio?
Yes, I'm pulling it up right now.
Does anyone have any questions for Brenda about the position again?
You guys know each other though?
Not
Okay.
really. It was the first meeting, man.
Okay, you heard me?
film is more like vintage and grasping, and like more creative. But I'm more hopeful because like I don't really have much to say. Like, but yeah, that's just me.
So I'm going through your portfolio right now. I see that you have a lot of, you're very professional in terms of the portrait photography, right?
Yeah.
But in SGA, there's a lot of events that we have that includes a lot of students. So are you comfortable doing something that's not focused on one person?
Yeah, of course. It's like I feel like it's just I feel like capturing more people like getting more emotion. So it'll be more fun too.
How do you take these photos with your phone or camera?
Film and digital.
Oh, what kind of digital?
Fuji.
I'm sorry if you already said this, but like, do you have what's your major?
Computer engineering.
So do you use any type of like editing software to do, or is it just all raw?
Any other questions? Nope. I just look at your person. It's awesome.
Appreciate it.
Very impressed. Is there a motion? Move to, oh, is he eligible for this position?
Yes. You're eligible based on, yes, you're eligible. You're welcome. I mean, there are eligibility requirements for all your positions. There's not a lot. Grades and behave.
I move to amend SL 07-90 to SL 08-19 Motion passes by general consent.
Move to approve SL 08-1920.
Second.
All in favor? You don't have to vote. Alright, 11, all opposed, 0, abstaining, 0. And the motion passes. Congratulations.
Was that your old book?
I'm sorry?
Was that your old book?
You can just come over here with me. Are you bring over here? So you're just gonna repeat after me. And yes, okay, so I, and then state your name. Do solemnly affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of coordinator of photography. I will faithfully execute the office of coordinator of photography of the communications department of the UMBC Student Government Association, and will, to the best of my ability, promote and defend the interests and well-being of the UMBC's undergraduates.
We have
Another confirmation.
Is this supposed to come in 7:20?
Is there a John?
No, he's not here. I don't know.
Let's get another.
Is there a
Oh, so you're gonna do
Yeah, I'm done.
What was her old
Alright.
secretary's name?
I was wrong. Move to amended and
You did a great job.
to move standard updates to before the confirmation of John to
All in favor? Okay, all opposed? Alright, and the motion passes.
Anyone's got some updates?
Okay, I'll start. Okay, just quick SRC, oh my god, it's the only thing I can think of. Yeah, I've just finally finished, working on like, SRC reforms and everything. I've worked with Brenda and Justin over the weekend. Besides that, you should have all gotten your, introductory emails for your SGCs, so shared governance committees. If not, I'm gonna put your email on. But for the most part, I think everybody is serving on at least 2 committees as well. And that's pretty much it.
This may be a question for some time, but we do have our UHS policy.
UHS policy.
Yeah.
Oh, University Health Services. I think I've already talked to Dr. Berman. I think his name is. And I believe won't go away from that. Thank you for asking.
Did you say that was the Wednesday before you need to hear back from them?
I heard back from them today, and I will send that for you today.
What about the dining committee?
Dining committee, funny enough, I actually heard from them today as well. And also, the only committees I have not heard from are library policy and library renewal. I literally went to the library. I said, hey, you know what these committees? The woman looked at me like, she gave me a phone number for admin, and see what happens from there. Has anybody served on library before? Do you know who I'm supposed to talk to? Oh, yeah, forward you. Okay, thank you. Awesome. Any other questions? Oh. Yeah.
Which one for policies?
Chino Beamer.
I'll ask you later.
Senator updates?
Yes, Rashad.
You can move up to the line. So as you guys know, we're contacting businesses. I found out that the farther you get from Popper Avenue, the less inclined are the businesses to give discounts to the UMBC students. And it's true. What? Excuse me?
Surprise, surprise.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But I did contact a few businesses on Kingsville, and they were like, "Oh yeah, that's such a good idea. You know, we will think of it." So I'm going to talk to them next week. I would really appreciate it if some of you guys could come with me, just because it's just not good old me going in there and talking to some businessmen. I would appreciate some help.
Let's do it.
Yeah, if you guys are interested in helping me talk to some businesses to get some discounts, let me know.
If you could just send an email to the entire SGA Senate about dates or
I'll put it on stuff. Do you guys have any questions about any of this? Yes, sir. So I actually have a list that I'm gonna have to put that on the shared folder. But the Eskimo Shacks that visit, we'll talk to the owners, and then we'll try to figure out if we want to do one or not. GL Shack Grill also is interested, and so was the Ice Cream Cottage. So these are 3 businesses that I have to go talk to.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes.
So do you already have are you in the process of making a list?
Yeah, so I have the list right here actually. I'm gonna put it in
Do
the.
you have tasting on there?
Yes, tasting's
Oh, okay.
10% off.
Hell yes.
What's tasty?
Tasty is like a bubble.
They have bubble tea.
They give students discounts.
Ice Cream Cottage, deal.
Yo, where's that?
Yeah, it's literally down the street. What about that particular black and yellow?
So just another thing, I'm not just contacting restaurants and food places, I'm also contacting bookstores. I talked to a few.
There's actually a liquor store that uses.
Actually, they also do a discount on my list. That's just something that if it appeals to the 21+ community of But you know, the movie theater and all that, they also do discounts, and I'm pretty sure like not a lot of people know about that. So that's why I'm trying to have like a whole list of all the businesses.
All those?
Yes, actually.
Really?
Yes. I have to call them back. But yes, any questions? Yes.
Do you think in the future it could be possible to develop like a brochure in coordination with our communications?
So I was actually hoping to have the whole list of the participating people around Arbutus and Canesville by the end of the semester, and then have it on one UMBC or like have the brochure somewhere on Commons, and then next semester is where I'll try and get like the students to go to businesses, because like I said, businesses are already doing all they can. They're giving out discounts. They can't do anymore because they're not going to profit anymore. Now it's just up to the students to actually go visit them. That's yes.
I can make you a website page on SG if you want to have it. So
We'll talk about that later on.
just so you can say we don't have a brochure yet, but this website has a lot because this updates a lot.
Yes, brochures. It's amazing. Any other questions? Thank you.
You understand your updates?
It's my job. Okay. So I talked to you, I talked to Brenda about this, about student accessibility concerns. I was thinking of either starting a committee to bridge the gap between maintenance and students who have accessibility needs. Because I've had a couple people come up to me knowing that I'm in SGA saying, hey, can you help me put in a request to fix the elevators in these broken bunds that open the doors. And I know that you're supposed to fill out a what's it called, fix it or do it, but people who are able-bodied don't normally go out of their way to fill out those forms. So I thought can either form a committee and revolve around that, or think of an idea of like making it easier to fix those issues and resolve those issues. So if anybody wants to chime in.
Funny you should say that, Kyle.
Oh, man.
Because that's exactly what I was working on the other day.
Wow,
everything. I was talking to the guy, so it's not a fix it because that's only for Res Life. There's this thing called, for facility management, they have this platform called AIM, which is totally, like you have to log in and everything, and it's only for faculty members. So I had to email Dr. Dan Mohart to see if he could give us SGA an account, which he hasn't responded to. So I'd make like some kind of Google form or something so they could report to us and then we report for them. So that's what we're going to work on.
Is this a team effort? I see. Well,
Yes, let's do it.
And then really also, I think you should be a part of that. In a way.
I guess I want to say like that's but I feel like we need to find something that's more binding because I think the elevators at Sherman, I think on both sides don't work, right? And the social work department is on that floor on the accessible side. And they would call me and nothing has been done. So I guess getting aim for us, sounds good, but what is it that what can we do to ensure that these problems are fixed? Because last semester we had was it performing arts building, like building an area that didn't work at all for like the whole semester.
case, then I move to move our break right now.
Oh wait, have you guys met with any of your SGCs yet?
I think a lot of them start either this week or not.
Wait, I have some.
Oh yeah,
Wait,
we know
guys.
one did. Yeah.
So this is about ops hours, so Kai and Kalechi, what times would you guys for ops hours? So just go on the Slack page, and then I like made a list of just one hour, yeah. So and also even if there's other people on that time slot, you can also pick that time.
Were we supposed to pick one time or like all the times we were available?
You were supposed to pick one time, but
Oh, I literally checked.
yeah, I know you picked like all of them. Okay.
I have like 3 times. Okay.
But I also included some of the other times that like if people check twice, because other people also pick that time, so it can also be used as like another time if people can't make the other time to the. Okay, that doesn't make sense, but you did? Okay, great. I'll look at it. Sorry.
Yeah, I like to move the recess from 7:20 to 7:15. Or from 7:35 to 7:15.
Second.
All in favor? Motion passes.
You have 2 minutes, bro. Come on. Sweat. Ah, right.
What's the clock we wrote on?
Wait,